earlier in the program, Larry Kudlow on Meet the Press. Sunday morning, airs at 10 a.m. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll pre-tape stuff, particularly if you've got to do an LTN connection with, let's say, Fox News. And so you'll pre-tape it so there's enough distance, so you get a little bit of time. Now, the problem is that maybe, you're sitting and you're in the White House. You're in the White House area waiting to do, a hit on morning television. And look, you're just sitting and it's boring. And they have a spread.
And the bottle's just sitting there.
And it's just like, you're just looking for something to kill the time. And
that's just day somewhere.
So by the time he gets on Fox News to talk about the trade tensions that exist, he's on there with Dana Perino, who was the paid liar for the Bush administration. He's talking about Greenland. And so, when you're not having to talk up the economy, the pressure's a little bit off. So why not? Why not let loose? It's sort of like a weekend.
It's our history.
It is a weekend.
A lot of history
Sunday.
professors, they like taking a little sip.
Favorites.
China is paying for these tariffs by a ratio.
Can we go backwards a little bit? I'm curious as to what the question. We have a question? Oh, okay. Incidentally, China is the word that he's saying.
By a ratio
go back to the
of about 4 to 1.
Go back to the head of that. I just want to make it clear.
China.
Go ahead.
Favorites.
China is paying for these tariffs by a ratio of about 4 to 1.
Larry,
and that's what we expected to happen.
I've enjoyed having you. I have one last question. If you get asked to go do a site survey about purchasing Greenland, can I go with you?
Well, maybe I'll run the central bank. Look, it's an interesting story. It's developing. We're looking at it. We don't know. Years ago, Harry Truman wanted to buy Greenland. Denmark owns Greenland. Denmark is an ally. Greenland is a strategic place up there. And they got a lot of valuable minerals. I don't want to predict an outcome. I'm just saying the president, who knows a thing or two about buying real estate, wants to take a look at
and all I'm saying is that if you get
purchase.
asked to go and do a site survey, I'd love to accompany you on the trip and do an interview out there. Larry Kudlow, thank you for joining us.
I
Happy
could make
Sunday.
that happen.
You're funny, Larry Kudlow.
So, let's talk about Greenland for 1 second. But let me just put to bed this whole China thing.
But they are friends. Denmark is our friend. Greenland. Wait a second.
I am worried.
Fredo.
That I am super worried that he is due for another heart attack soon.
The beginning of this interview is actually kind of funny.
Let's watch the beginning. Let's go back and watch the beginning. Remember, what was it? 8 months ago when he first came on after 3 or 4 months, he had a heart attack.
He was he did a series of these type of interviews where he was visibly cold sweating.
Yeah,
My heart was so wet.
Yeah.
And joining me now, White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow. Welcome to Fox News Sunday, Larry.
Thank you, Dana. Appreciate it.
So, Larry, there's been a mixed bag.
Oh.
We were talking just about it. Kevin showed it.
Oh my God! Goals for debate coverage
Dow
right here.
dropped, then it bounced back. Retail sales are up. Job growth continues. Manufacturing slowing down.
At what point do you think she realizes that he's completely
considering
wasted?
any new legislative policies or executive actions to stave off what some are saying could be a possible coming
look
recession?
at his eyes.
Well, first of all, I don't see a recession at all. Second of all, the Trump pro-growth program, which I believe has been succeeding, lower tax rates, big rollback of regulations.
Oh, pause it. Incidentally, none of this is true. I mean, to the extent that there's been a rollback of regulation, that is true to a certain extent. Certainly the rate of regulation has dropped. And they have rolled back some very key regulations that keep people healthy. The tax cuts are not working unless your measure is, are really rich people getting richer?
What about the black unemployment rate, Sam Cedar?
It is true that the trajectory has remained the same, but that is after a huge, supposedly, priming of the pump, supposedly.
What about the amount of Dominicans who have pharmacy degrees now, Sam Seder?
Trade reform, we're going to stay with that. We believe that's the heart of the free enterprise. We want an incentive-oriented supply-side economy, providing opportunities for everybody across the board. And as your report mentioned, look, we have blowout retail sales. Let me just pause there. Consumers, first of all, they're working. The employment numbers are terrific. Second of all, they're working at much higher wages. Third of all, they're spending.
No, that's true.
And fourth of all, interestingly, they are saving even while they're spending. That's about as good as it gets. And I notice at the end of the week, a lot of the Wall Street firms have been marking up their economic growth forecast. I think we're in pretty good shape. And I want to just say, we should not be afraid of optimism. I don't know what it is. Everybody wants to talk about pessimism.
Pause. Okay. Look, I just want to say this. In all honesty, I met Larry Kudlow. I don't know. I did his show probably a dozen times over a small period of time. At one point, I was like, you got to pay me if you want me to come out to New Jersey. I'm just not going to do it anymore. But he was very gracious. He was always nice to me. Always enjoyed me getting into an argument. I worry about his health. Honestly, with that said, you go and you sign up for this administration, which is disgusting, which are doing disgusting things to the environment, to our society at large, racist. They're kidnapping children. They are, if he needs to drink to allow himself to continue to work for this, I feel bad for him, but it has its limits, if you know what I mean.
Sippy. I try a little bit of employment optimism, Sam Seder. I did a radio show, but no, I said, forget. We're going to do the 80s again. And it's going to be Trump, and it's going to be me, and we're just going to crash, and it's going to be a beautiful day to parade
as if being
Greenland.
Afraid of optimism is a problem.
Why are you afraid of it? You got your podcast, Matlack. You got the patrons. It's coming along. Everybody just needs to think about the future.
Future. Should we look at another sad guy?
ZipRecruiter, mid-roll,
No,
new economy.
What is it? I don't know what this. Somebody sent me this.